Welcome. We're going to talk about how to build a cable snout. The idea here is that we want to pull these four cables through a conduit easily and as snag-free as possible. One of the first things we want to do is we want to label these cables so that we can identify them when we're all done. We can use just some simple self-laminating cables or laminating labels and just a marker. And I've already done these here. Now these labels will be redone later when you finish your installation and actually put on your connectors. The next thing I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to taper the ends of the cables here because a taper is going to pull through much easier than a blunt end. So I'm going to take a pair of side cutters and I'm going to taper each end at about a 45-degree angle. Next, I'm going to want to select my most heavy-duty cable and use that as the lead to pull through. The rest of them I'm going to stagger back at equal intervals. And I want to now tie this together using some electrical tape. So I've tapered my ends, I've staggered them, and I now have them held together with some electrical tape. One of the questions that comes up frequently is should we also add a pull string to this bundle so that maybe we can pull some cable through later. That may actually be against code in some areas to leave a pull string in the conduit when we're all done, so we will not add it. Next, I'm going to take the pull string I am going to use to pull the cable with, and I'm going to use what's called a simple hitch knot down here at the bottom. And the knot itself, I'm actually going to put in between a couple of the cables here so that things remain smooth. And again, I'm going to take a little bit of electrical tape and I'm going to hold this together. Be sure to stretch the tape tight so that things hold together well. So now we have our pull string, we have our simple hitch knot. We're going to pull it tight, make sure it's in between a couple cables so things are smooth. And just below each taper, we're going to add another simple hitch knot. This will typically be about every 6 inches or so. And again, we'll place the knot in between a couple of the cables here. Make sure it's all tight. So now we've added our pull string. We've used a simple hitch knot at the bottom and another hitch knot just below each subsequent taper. So now we're going to go back with our electrical tape again and we're going to wrap the entirety of it. And we're going to make sure we keep our tape taut. Again, making sure that the knots here are in between the cables so that there's no excess bulk. Again, making sure our tape is tight. Everything's being held together well, making sure that when we get to our knot, it's in between a couple cables. You can see as you pull along the pull string how tight this gets. Sometimes maybe if you have a coworker who can hold that taut for you as you do this, that would be great. So we just go along the length of the snout, again, keeping our tape tight all the way. Fixing our tape when necessary. And all the way up to the top. See how the second cable with the taper lays in smoothly with the next cable. That's one of the things we're trying to accomplish here. And finally, all the way at the end, so now we can successfully pull this through the conduit. We've made sure that our knots are down in between the cables. Everything is tight and wrapped smooth, and this should pull pretty easily through your conduit without any damage to the cables.